as you can see, I think you'll certainly have heard the term Datix and incident and reporting as being quite a theme through the speakers that we've heard up to now. So my short little bit is about Datix incident reports and how important they are. It's really important that we have that information. As we say, if we don't know about things, we can't do anything about them. So the Trust Datix system obviously is the way that the trust, it's the health and safety book, so to speak, the organisation. So our Datix incident reports are really important. They're used to bring information to our trust board, and certainly with AVH, the only way that our trust board is aware of what happens, where it happens, who it happens to, how much of it, how severe is it, all that detail, that information. If we've got it in an incident report form, the Datixers are where they pull the information for those reports, so it's really significant. So we need to know the time, the place, who's involved, how many, and as I said, the severity. So if we're going to be doing one of these, then we need to make sure that we've got all that information on there. So that's just a quick recap of what I've just spoken about so that you can see why we need that to be done. It's not always easy to do a Datix incident report. At the time you've got the incident going on, so you can't do your report then. Afterwards you're trying to catch up with what you should have been doing but for the incident, and so we find quite often that people leave that report until nearer the end of the shift, and then sometimes people will say, I need to go, I can't stay, I've got to go home, I have responsibilities that I need to do. If you do stay, make sure that you get that time back, because that's your time. If you've stayed over your shift time, get that time, those minutes back on e-roster. We don't work for free, we come to work to get paid, and if that is completed, that Datix outside of your work time, then legitimately you can ask for those time, that minutes back. So please do that. It doesn't have to be that you need to do the Datix on the day of the incident. It can be done retrospectively the next day. Contemporaneously is the best way, because obviously then you're going to be remembering things more accurately. But it doesn't have to be. You could do it on a different day. So when we're actually doing the incident report form, a lot of people have commented as I've been going around doing some of my informal sessions about it's really difficult when you get the drop down. So you almost lose the will to live. You start off doing your incident report, you get onto one box, you get another drop down, and that leads to another, and then another and another. And then when you're looking at the drop downs, they don't always seem to fit your incident. So with the AVH ones, we've tried to be more specific, get them more concise. We have altered them recently based on feedback from comments from colleagues. But if you use the main text body of the Datix incident report, if nothing seems to fit, choose the best option that you feel is right for your incident. Then use that main text body to capture the essence of what your incident is about, so we can see and understand what's happened. It's as well, if we do know if the person's got capacity, if you're sure of that, then please do capture that in that information as well. It's better to do a report with the key elements than to not do it at all. That's the real thing that we want to get through for today is, you know, if we've got a report, it's better than to not have a report. So we do have some incidents, as we've been alluded to, obviously by our Sergeant Langham's session earlier and PC Barnes as well. It's really important that if we have racial abuse, if we have sexual abuse, we have had that, or if we have an assault, and the patient has capacity, that incident is reported to the police. We need the Datix, obviously, but we need that incident reported. We want to capture that. You will get a crime number that can go on to your Datix. That is an important piece of information, so please do add that to your Datix report. You will be the key person to know whether you need to report that. If it's happening at the time and you are in fear, 999. If it's something that's happened or has happened and you're not in immediate fear or danger, then you can report to the police via 101. But again, please make sure that you do capture those significant incidents. Again, if we've got racial and sexual abuse incidents, if you've got witnesses, ask for a statement, get those statements attached to the Datix, keep that information safe and secure on there. So if you've done your Datix and you've completed, your incident investigator should come back to you if further information is needed. So don't worry if you don't put everything on there or you suddenly think, oh, I should have added. If you can add to it, that's fine. But you should get contact from your investigator. There is a box that you can tick as well, that you can ask for feedback. But if you don't get feedback and you want to know what's happened, you'll see on your incident who your investigator is. Contact them, speak to them, ask them, find out. So if you're physically assaulted by a patient and that patient has capacity, you do have a mechanism within the trust, and there is a box you'll see on your Datix and it will say LSMS, and it will ask you if you want to follow or carry on with further information. Do you want this to proceed? That's where you'll get contact from your local security management specialist. We've got two in our trust. We've got Joe Tomlinson and we've got Neil Mart. Joe Tomlinson regularly emails to people, to colleagues that have been assaulted, asking them how they are, do they wish to take the matter forward. If there is an opportunity that we can pursue it, if that individual wishes to pursue it, and if the patient's got capacity, then the trust will be supportive and will give you that support to carry that action out. Some people were under the impression that you'd be called a troublemaker or you're not actually able to do that. That certainly isn't the case. And the LSMS support colleagues will certainly tell you to the contrary. We do respect, however, that not all individuals wish to follow through with the prosecution. They may have very personal, private reasons why they don't want to go to court. So we do take that into consideration. But on the whole, if that is your choice, your option, it is something that the trust does support you to do. So it's just a few numbers here so you can see the total of incidents that we've got reported. So we do have large numbers up there. It's broken down into different divisions as well. We're always saying, we need you to give us the information. There's some pretty significant figures there. One of the other options about doing your Datix is it can act as an audit for you. So they're a good source of evidence. And that audit can help you in sometimes ways that you don't always think of. So if you are having to have extra support, a need for staffing, if you've got your Datix incidents in there, then that's a reason. So as Vicky Fenstone alluded to earlier, you might need more staffing to keep your area safe if you've got a patient that requires more 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. Or we have had incidents where there's been 6-to-1 for a patient to keep staff safe. So the Datix reports are a really good audit tool for that purpose. And equally, obviously, good reporting leads in that way to a safer workplace. So that's my little whistle-top story of Datix. I hope that you'll sort of feel a bit of empathy with your colleagues if you have to do the Datix incident report forms, but equally, you know, they do have a value, they are of benefit. So please, please, is the request, do complete them.
I'm surprised that ambulatory care has a third of reported Datix than medicine.
And I think that's the thing, you know, that people don't always realise. So it is an eye-opener.
Just an aside to that, I was going to just add that the staff-on-staff incidents have increased over the last 12 months. I haven't got the exact figures on it, but I've been working on those once the annual report. But what has come from this is that there's been almost highlighted a gap within the organisation, because whilst we've got these inpatient to staff or a visitor to a staff member, we're not always as, I suppose, able to or want to report staff-on-staff incidents, but people are getting better at doing so. But the gap between where do they sit and then who manages those and where are they highlighted? So there is some work going on with the HR functions and the teams over there to look at the behaviours and these incidents that are occurring. And at the moment, at the time we started to look at them, they were not necessarily aware of the incidents happening. They were kept within the division, within the departments, and not necessarily shared on a wide basis. So yeah, we are starting to look at that. And as Cheryl said, there's probably multiple reasons why these are occurring. We need to get underneath that, and we need to start to learn about it and start to be civil with one another. So
that's the majority of those staff, is it more verbal harassment rather than physical?
Yeah.
Yes, it's more a verbal harassment type of incident. There have been physical, but they are very, very few. But the majority are on the verbal aspect. Yeah.